Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Kelsey on Enjoy the Journey. Thanks for watching. Before we get into this video any further, remember to click the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you learn about new videos as I post them. Again, bear with me, I'm going through some health issues, which funnily enough is going to be the topic of our video today. And I did just start this channel, so I'm new to this whole YouTube thing. Again, I promise the quality of these videos will get better as time goes on, but for now I just want to dive right in. So your patience is appreciated. Here we go. So the first video, for those of y'all who didn't see it, was about the 7 categories of life, as I like to call them. There are 7 basic categories that everything in life can be broken down into. Quick review if you missed it. I may post a link to that video, although for now it's the only other video on my channel, so pretty easy to find. But for future reference, maybe as my channel builds, I'll make sure to post a link to that. It is something that I will definitely come back to time and time again, and I hope y'all come back to time and time again. I come back to this in my life all the time because it's just so applicable, so relevant, so helpful. But a quick review of those and they're in this order. It's physical, mental, emotional, then professional, financial, social, relationship. So everything in life can be broken down into one of those 7 categories. And I've found that, again, there's a natural order to life, and it's that order that I just listed the categories in. So again, it's physical, mental, emotional, professional, financial, social, relationship. What does that mean that there's a natural order to these categories? I kind of want to expand on that for a minute here. It means that you have to address the first category before you can move on to the second. And then you've got to master the second category before you can move on to the third, and so on and so forth. That being said, I've found that you don't necessarily have to just master one thing or focus on one thing, like the first category of physical, let's say, before you can completely move on to the second category. That's one approach you can take, and sometimes I've tried that in my life, but in my experience I've found that it gets really overwhelming, and life is better when it's balanced. So I like to take the approach of making time as much as possible. I try to keep it, as balanced as much as possible. Doesn't always happen, of course, for a lot of us, probably most of us, I would say. What does the majority of your time go to? Category number 4, really, which is your profession, right? You probably spend most of your time at work, working on your business if you're a business owner, performing your job, whatever it may be. Maybe you have several jobs, or if you're a student, you probably spend the majority of your time going to school and doing homework, right? So that can oftentimes take over, but it's very important that you do acknowledge all the other 6 categories in life and in your life, and make time for those as much as possible, because again, balance is so key, and I'll get into that more in future videos, but for now just bear that in mind. So maybe there is 1 or 2 areas of your life, 1 or 2 of those categories that you've been neglecting, let's say, and you need to kind of get back to it to create that balance or recreate that balance in your life. That's definitely something to pay attention to. But nonetheless, whether your life is in balance or out of balance, I personally recommend making time, again, as equally as possible for each of those 7 categories. And even if there's, say you need to work on, again, some of those categories, maybe one of them is really dire, it needs a lot of your attention. Again, give it your attention as much as possible, but don't completely neglect everything else. At the end of the day, do what works for you, but that's my own personal advice. That's been my experience with it. Again, whenever I've tried to just hone in on something really intensely, I'll do that. Sometimes I've needed to, but at the same time, again, it gets exhausting, it gets stressful. So it helps to have other areas of your life to kind of bounce back to every now and again, just to take a break. Another thing I've realized is that you never know where you're going to find something. Like, you never know where you're going to find the answer to a question you've been asking, or the solution to a problem you're facing right now. So that's a really good reason, I think, to have other things going on in your life, because you never know, again, where you're going to find something. God works through unexpected channels, and that's something I continue to see again and again in my life. And I think once you start to pay attention to that, you'll realize that happens in your life too. I'll never forget, there was this Grey's Anatomy episode. I'm a fan, if you can't tell. I think I referenced that in my first video. There are so many good things from that show. I really could talk about that all day. But anyway, I'll just use this example for now. I'll never forget there was an episode in like season 5, maybe season 6, where Derek Shepherd, aka McDreamy, the hair, right? He was looking for a solution to a problem one of his patients was facing, and he couldn't come up with the answer. He just kept thinking about it and thinking about it. When he was at work, when he was at the hospital, he was talking to his colleagues about it, and he just still couldn't figure it out. Well, then when he was at home, different environment, around different people, focusing on a different area of his life, right? He was playing with his daughter. He was taking care of his daughter, who was fairly little at this point in the series anyway. And it was something that she did that made him have that mental breakthrough and find the answer to his problem. So again, it's good to diversify. It's good to have, you know, again, a well-balanced life, and still kind of, you know, work on a little bit of everything, because you never know. Even if you've got, you know, a problem over here, maybe by doing something in this area, in this category, it'll actually help the other category. There tends to be that symbiosis. That's just how the world works. So I would definitely give that piece of advice to y'all. That being said, well, I was going to delve into the physical category, but maybe we'll just kind of keep going with that for now. Just that overall approach and mindset to this whole concept of the 7 categories of life. Another thing I want to touch on or kind of review from my first video is that, again, you really need to approach your life, or design your life, as I like to say, in that order. So if you think about daily routines, which if you don't have one, get one. And I will definitely be doing videos about that. I have a daily routine I have for years. And literally, I've designed my life for the past 5 years now, literally in the order of the 7 categories. I would start my day with something physical, doing a bit of a workout, stretching, maybe both. A lot of people like to start their day with a workout. There's a lot of good reasons to do that. I know it doesn't work for everyone, but if it works for you, I highly recommend it. Again, even just some gentle stretching, a hot, cold shower, something to warm your body up is critical. It makes a huge difference if you start your day that way. Start your day with physical, taking care of your physical health. Another thing you should incorporate into your morning routine, which if you study the routines of successful, powerful people like I have for years now, you will notice not only do they do something for their physical health, they do something for their mental and emotional or spiritual health as well. I work that into my daily routine right after that physical stuff. I call it my hour of power. I got that term from Tony Robbins. Thank you, Tony. And you're welcome, viewers. I just love that term. That helps get me psyched up to do it. And to me, like I make kind of my hour of power a combination of physical, mental, and emotional things to do. I hit all 3 of those first 3 categories in that hour of power. So again, if you don't have a morning routine, I highly recommend starting one. Start small, grow from there. I'll do lots more videos on that, don't worry, but just as a general starting point, have a morning routine and hit those first 3 in the morning. Again, really those first 3 pillars, or they're kind of branches, if you will, under the general umbrella of health, but they are different aspects of it, and you need to take care of all of those aspects of your health. Otherwise, you're just not going to have as good a day. You're just not. So I highly recommend having a morning routine, again, kind of designing your life, design your day intentionally, and start by hitting those first 3 categories. You can just knock those off your list. Then once you do that, naturally you'll probably have to go to work, right? So that's category number 4. You make the money from doing that, presumably, right? May not get paid every day, but you generate income for yourself every day. So that's category number 5. After that comes 6 and 7, your social life. Again, you can kind of combine those 2, depending. You got your social life, hang out with friends, you know, maybe you go to happy hour after work. I'm not necessarily endorsing that, but I'm not a drinker, that's why, but we'll get more into that later. Anyway, but I do think it's important, again, to meet new people and, you know, honor those connections and take care of those relationships. So, and obviously if you have a significant other, if you have a family, you definitely need to make sure you're spending time with your spouse. absolutely, if you have kids, of course, if you do work, still make time for your kids, of course, when you come home at the end of the day. I'm sure it's hard, you're exhausted, I get it, but again, family, friends, a significant other, it's all important. And again, it tends to come at the end of the day, so you may not be as fresh, you may not have as much energy, but do your best to still give those people the best of yourself that you've given maybe your coworkers during the day. Again, I know I touched on a lot of stuff. I try to keep these videos to about 10 minutes, so I'm gonna cut it off there. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the comment box below, and I'll do my best to get back to them. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Again, this is a new channel, this is a new venture for me, so I really appreciate your support and your feedback, and I will see you in the next one. Enjoy the journey.